It's week 8. Nerdy Tenor's keyboard is back. Battle Royale, bigger than ever. $50,000 to first place. Nerdy Tenor's top secret computer is going to solve fantasy football for good today on the channel. Don't go anywhere as we draft the week 8 Battle Royale winner. It's Short King Summer, dude. It just feels like no one in fantasy sports ever learns anything. Does he mistime it, or is Brock Bowers just a grown man? Brock Bowers is just a grown man. Dare I say, Rich, football might be back. In the words of Lane Johnson, this offense looks constipated. It's Short King Summer. All right, guys, we are waiting for one Mr. Brian Hooper to finish Lowell's. If you were just coming in from Lowell's, welcome. I believe that instead of us rating them this week, they are going to rate us. Dan, we are here. $7 to enter again this week. $50,000 to first place. Smaller contest size again. So instead, when it's $5, that's $67,000, $55,000-ish total entries. Does that actually change the calculus of your Sims at all? That extra, the removal of the 12,000 entries?
Yeah, it should. Although I'll generally speaking, when you sim out like traditional DFS contests, and I imagine it would be the same here, you sort of think of it logarithmically. So like the difference between 10,000 and 20,000 entries is similar to the difference from 20,000 to 40,000, 40,000. Like those are the steps. It's the exponent. So like a 50 to 60,000, yeah, it's going to be different, but not a lot. I would imagine it's a mild difference. Hey.
All right, Brian, fresh from Lowell's. The people are asking, can we get a recap of how teams did last week? Yeah, sure. I'll give you a recap.
No.
I entered in, what did I enter in? I entered in 341 teams. So I maxed the Big BR for $7. I maxed the Wildcat for $3. I maxed a bunch of the other small contests, and I got $430 back. And that was, guys, by the way, that was with having the nutted running back combo, Mixon Gibbs, more than the field. So I had the guys you had to have together more than the field. And still, and to be honest, looking back, do you know why? Do you know why I didn't do it? My dedication to Brock Bowers and Travis Kelce and George Kittle. It was because the piece that you actually had to have last week was David Njoku. He was the highest scoring tight end, 18.9 underdog points. You also had to have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is the highest scoring wide receiver one of the week. He was the lowest scoring wide receiver one of any slate this season, 21.5 half PPR points. So that's the lowest scoring wide receiver one. Basically what I'm saying is it's not my fault. Dan, it's not my fault. So sometimes you just run bad.
It never is. I blame software, that's my default. So we won't talk about who wrote that software, but
well, this was the big problem, was that Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, and Jaden Reed, combinatorically, if you add all their ownership together, they were on more than 65% of my entries. Multiple of them were on, I think, 30 or 40% of my entries. And I mean, I think those guys combined for about 6 half PPR points. So,
yeah,
it is what it is. Dan, do we have any model changes this week?
No model changes, but there's a fairly large change in the behavior and what the sim is spreading out. Talked about a little bit before. The texture of the slate, my software is saying you almost always want 2 running backs. It's seeming to imply there just isn't enough wide receiver value to want to get 3 of them all that often. So that's the main difference. I'll post actual numbers in the end game Discord later, probably tomorrow after I have updated projections. But that's the biggest thing that jumped out at me. It's so far it's in the single digits. What it thinks is a fair percentage of having 3 receivers, which I thought was interesting.
That'll be more than I have. If I'm gonna do 150 BRs this week, I'll probably have 3 wide receiver teams. I think it's too difficult. Brian, How'd your weekend go? You have any big model thoughts? What's going on there?
I did 17 entries this last week into the
Okay,
VF.
so you stepped it up.
And well, because I got Dan's optimal percentages and then I overlaid them on the caddy. So I'm like, okay, I think I can actually draft something now. And I didn't do good. I got 17 entries. I got $50 back.
Hey, you were directionally accurate. We what was it? So Chuba, the computer really wanted us to take last week. He ended up going all the way up to a 3rd round pick.
Yeah,
Josh
he was like 18
Jacobs
overall or something.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs, the computer really liked. He scored his first ever career receiving touchdown. I think, obviously it so highlights the issue in doing things this way, which is like, yeah, it's going to give you really good teams if the projections are right. Like the teams are really good. They're structured well. You're drafting well, but the projections do have to be right. And there's a pesky little thing called football. It's, Brian, it's an oblong leather ball. It bounces in weird ways. It's very hard to predict.
That's true. Why don't we review the optimal and ownership I tweeted about?
Oh yeah.
You want to bring that up, David, before we draft?
Yeah, just on your Twitter account.
It's on my Twitter. It's not that I don't tweet that much, so it should be on there. Pretty good.
You don't tweet very often, but every once in a while you will. You really have a banger.
I know it's hard to get the bangers out though. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I think we do this at Endgame a decent amount. At least I try to. Is like, okay, here's some ideas, here's some theory. Now, how do you actually use it? So, how do you actually use Dan's optimal percentages? Well, a good way to do it, in my opinion, is probably comparing it to ownership.
Yep.
Ownership.
All right. So, Brian, what are we looking at here?
So, if you can click the picture and expand it. The number. It's the draft caddy overlay. The number on the left is our projected ownership for that player. The number on the right was Dan's optimal numbers posted on Sunday or whatever time Dan posted those. And then I sorted by the biggest differential between the two numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Just positive, not negative. So there's guys who are overdrafted too that you would probably want to avoid, generally speaking. But this is, for me at least, a pretty easy way to, like, I'm drafting live. I was doing like 3 tables at once. Who do I take this time? Oh, Tony Pollard is not getting picked enough, and he's right here in my ADP range, and I need a running back. Click. For us mortals, not the no ballers like Davis, who just know.
These were pretty close to my exposures from last week. Honestly, like Mason, not as much, but Pollard and Brian Robinson and Aaron Jones ended up being, I think, like super strong plays. These guys, this right here, this is your slappy list. Tank Dell, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, not slappy, but Deontay Johnson and Ayuk. These were Dan's computer like them. These were also the slappy plays. Like these are the people who get on Twitter and complain about how bad their advance rate is in Best Ball Mania 5. These are the people that were getting clicked. And
T. Higgins is a good one. Was a good one.
T. Higgins was just a good play.
Yeah,
and then
29% ownership. That's too low.
Yeah, slappy central for me here. Dalton Schultz was my 4th most owned tight end out of the big 3.
You can't say Colby's a slappy. No one was taking him.
And I am reverse slapping because I will never take Colby Parkinson.
Well, that's fine. But slapping is a bunch of people who suck are taking them.
Yeah, and then
you can't call slappy at 7% ownership.
Same deal with quarterback this week as last. It's just super flat, particularly without Daniels now. Like Daniels is very likely to not play, so we really only have Lamar and Josh. And the deal with Josh is like, well, you don't really want to take Kincaid with him because Kincaid stinks. I don't really want to take Amari Cooper with him because the playing time uncertainty is so high. Like, Dan, I assume we will not get suggested Amari Cooper once using the projection sources that you have in, but he goes almost 100% of the time.
There's also something interesting about this list that I want to talk about, but Dan, go ahead.
No, it's getting a little Amari Cooper. It's getting 10%.
Interesting.
Yeah, but here's the fun one. Oh wait, I gotta go back to the top.
Will Mallory in the optimal again. Luke Schoonmaker.
Did you update your caddy, Davis?
No,
Okay.
I have not updated my caddy.
So guess how many quarterbacks are over 95% drafted this week in my stuff?
None. There shouldn't be.
Just Lamar.
Yeah.
Lamar
Oh,
only.
sure. Yeah. Okay.
So
That reflects how I feel about how it should be, because I mean, just look at this. Look at, like, even if you're just using the fake. Oh God, this is the worst. I hate when I do this. So if you're just using the fake projections on Underdog, like, these are not even good, but look how flat they are.
it's very flat, yeah.
So you got Lamar and Josh and Hurts, and then basically you've got a billion guys projected for within 2.5 points of each other. Like, Jameis Winston should get drafted some. Anthony Richardson should get drafted some. So it's just, I would even wonder if the ownership stuff here for Love, Burrow, well, these are probably just the worst plays, right? Love and Burrow are probably the worst plays of the slate based on how little difference in projection there is from them to CJ Stroud or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have Love at 77%.
Okay, so
that
means all right.
Burrow I have 48 at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I do think that if you bring up that the old list of QBs from my tweet, I don't know if you still have it. So I think another interesting thing to keep in mind is we'll look and see if it's the same this week too. Is it more just that the solver, the sim, thinks that you could kind of just take QBs in the sixth round? You could just take any of these QBs.
Yes.
And so, like, you really don't want to stack, too much Kirk Cousins or Sam Darnold, because your opponents can then exploit you. So by taking Goff and Purdy, I think that is what it's saying. And you remember when Pete took third or whatever, it's like Jordan Love in the sixth round. No one's taking him. He was like 6% owned that week or something. And I think the solver's saying, like, don't let that happen. Don't let your opponent be able to take 6% on Jordan Love in the sixth round.
So I actually was just telling this to Dan before we started, but this is my current, and I obviously, like, I'm pressing a little bit because I'm down like $6,000 in like 3 weeks. So I'm kind of just thinking outside the box because I can't lose anymore, really. Combinatorially speaking, I got thinking about this last week with AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts specifically, where AJ Brown is a first round pick. Jordan Hurts is kind of like a third, fourth round pick. So if you divide 55,000 divided by 6, please don't make me do math live on the show. But let's call it 7,000 AJ Brown teams or whatever, roughly. How many of those have? In fact, actually, I can look it up. Let me pull up the leaderboard from last week. Battle Royale, week 7, roster players, AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts. There were 3,500. That is insane. Look, that is crazy because there are only almost 40% of the AJ Brown teams had Jalen Hurts, right? So that you're basically, then you have to go 4v4. Right, you have to win the, like, let's say AJ Brown is the guy you need. You almost need to go. You're decreasing the amount of roster spot edge you have. So then let's check in with Goff. There are 198 teams that had Goff and AJ Brown on them. So my current galaxy brain thought is stacking might actually be bad. Stacking might actually not in every case, but in the case of Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, something that is. I mean, AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts were on 6.4% of the total entries of the total pool. Now, obviously, Brian, this is kind of one of those heuristic versus astrology things that you always say, But, like, my gut reaction to that is that there is edge to be gained 198 teams versus 3,000 teams.
Yeah, so like I would love to see the optimal number from what Dan's stuff shows for these guys, but it's funny you mentioned that, Davis. You don't do your homework, because that's exactly what we added to the caddy. I'll show you here. But it's projected, not the actual, right? So for this week,
yeah,
Hurts and Brown are projected at 39.4%.
Can I update this live while we're on air, or is it gonna mess the caddy up?
No, I could just use mine.
Okay.
If you don't,
I will do it for the next. Did the winner have that stack? I mean, buddy, I was so tuned out last week. That the winner did. No, the winner had. Yeah, okay, the winner did. So I guess what am I saying? What am I saying? It was up. It won money last week. How could it possibly be bad? What am I saying?
I think it's a fair question, Davis. I don't think it's just astrology. I think just the people guessing is the astrology part. So like I'd like to see what for this week, Dan. I'm not sure if you can populate it, but what is the optimal rate for the Hurts Brown combo compared to what we have estimated? And then Davis, the second thing before I forget is I think the interesting thing about these combo stuff is if you look at this top ownership here, you'll see like let's see here, like Breece Hall and Drake London are together a lot. Like I'm pretty sure they're not playing each other, right?
It's ADP.
Yeah, but whatever. I don't care what the reason is.
No, that's terrible. So that I actively try and avoid as I'm playing.
This is what I'm saying. And this is what we just did on Lowe's. Like I think the strategy talking about like using all this stuff in real life is so like let's say you get first pick. You just type in Henry. Let's say you take Henry the first pick, and you're like, okay, now this draft, look who I'm avoiding. Henry and Njoku probably.
Great example. AJ Brown, just don't take Joe Mixon. Jamar Chase, just don't take Amon-Ra St. Brown. Breece Hall, just don't take Kenneth Walker or Drake London. Like, just scroll a little bit. Take Lamar, take Bijan, take Bowers. Like, particularly in the second round, almost every time I enter, I'm saying, just don't take the top guy at the queue. The top guy at the queue is you don't want.
So I looked at the numbers so far, and it is draft when it drafts Hurts, it drafts. Let me make sure I'm looking at this right first.
I'm on the edge of my toes. I wanted to say when it drafts AJ Brown, you take Hurts like never % of the time or 100% of the time.
It's like half the time.
Okay, but we also have to compare apples to apples too. So I think our number is the projected number is in all drafts. Hurts and Brown are together.
Hurts and Brown together. Oh, okay. So I need to multiply this by how often Hurts is drafted.
It's like 90%.
Well, in my stuff though, let's see.
Yeah, in his stuff.
Where is that? Here it is.
So it'll probably be right around 40 something, I bet.
So 75.
Yeah, it probably will.
Yeah, it's 37.6.
Yeah, and we have 39.
Right about
that's pretty sharp for the field, by the way.
Right about as the
field is about par. Yeah, it's close enough. But the point you're making, even though this one didn't pan out the way it would have been more fun, the point holds is that so like why do you correlate? Like when you're correlating, you're usually giving up a little projection, right? And you're doing it because when those pieces move, they move together. So it gives you a chance to leap ahead of the field, right? However, there's a point at which if too many people are doing that very thing, now you're paying an ownership penalty. So there's a point at which the boost you get from the correlation is no longer worth it because you're getting penalized by having so many other people doing the same thing. So you have to just try and figure out where those points are. But that is the sort of high level point.
So I guess an interesting thing on top of that would be, so that right there is an example of a wide receiver who's projected very well and a quarterback who's projected very well, like just like the nutted guys.
Right.
But something like CJ Stroud and Tank Dell, guys who the field likes those guys. The field likes CJ Stroud. The field likes Tank Dell. They like them better than they're being projected, right? Like in the stuff. So let's go back and look. Stroud last week was taken 3,450 times, and Tank Dell was on a third of those teams. Diggs was on more than a third of those teams. I wonder how often Schultz was taken with him. Schultz was probably taken, way less often. So my gut there would be Stroud Schultz is a more profitable way to play it, even though Stroud is probably a negative EV guy to be overweight on last week.
Who did you say?
CJ Stroud, Texans quarterback.
I mean, this is all, obviously super useful. I think stressing like these uncorrelated picks to me makes so much more sense to like just definitely fade. I would like to know what the number is. I'm sorry, I'm gonna override Davis here for a second.
Go for it.
What is the optimal number on average for any two uncorrelated players? I'd like to know that number, because then you could kind of just default, and then you got AJ Brown. Is he going in the first round this week? Whoever, go back to Henry because I know he's first. So I just put Henry in here, and then I go, okay, Henry and Bowers, they're not correlated, right? Let's just say they're not. 24% seems high.
They're kind of ADP correlated.
Yeah, forget it. I don't care. You know what I mean? For this analogy, I don't. This thought experiment, I don't care about ADP. I'm just going. Should Brower? What percentage is at equilibrium? Would any two uncorrelated players be drafted? This is probably above that. And then after that, then maybe I'll start thinking about some other stuff. But if you just get the number one pick and you type in Henry, and then you just start fading a lot of these guys. Until
that's what I'm seeing right here is basically like, so I've got the ADP pulled up, so I see you're having the 24% stuff there. So Derrick Henry is the 1.5, which means you're up again at 12-13. So he's correlating a lot with Bijan. He's correlating a lot with Bowers because of those guys right there.
Yeah,
well,
so you can. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I just dialed up the numbers for that.
Okay.
So for instance,
Don't do that. This is really bad advice. Jerry Jeudy is never the answer. Jerry Jeudy should never be selected. There could be 30 team drafts. We wouldn't take Jerry Jeudy.
So in my set, I have what do I have? I've got 33, close to 34,000 teams. So almost the same size as the slate. So I've got 4,000 teams with Derrick Henry, 5,600 teams with Bowers, and 668 that have both.
Okay, that doesn't sound high. Let's do the math.
That's way lower than
24%.
Than 24% either way.
Yeah, totally. I totally knew that was way lower than 24%. Obviously, that was so easy to do off the top of my head.
Okay. And what would be? Can you get
random combos like that? It's just
instant fade.
Instant fade. That's so easy.
Okay, thank you. I knew that was right, but I wanted to hear the numbers. So like Davis, the reason I'm just trying to put a point on this to compare it to your idea. So Hurts should be owned 37% optimally. We have Hurts Brown, and we have him at 40%, right? And he should be 37%. You think it maybe should be a little lower than that? Who gives a shit when you're just staring these combos that you could just fade and just instantly make more Skolansky bucks, sure. Okay. Don't take Hurts Brown if you don't want to, but there's just other stuff sitting here staring you in the face that you just don't do it. And you can do it pretty easily too. Cause what pick did you get? I got the first pick. All right, Henry, I'm just going to go type this in really quick. Here's some numbers. Here's some guys I should not pair with Henry. Okay, I got the third. Who's the third pick this week? Or second pick. Just type that person in.
Yeah, I like it. This is
I don't
an
know.
example
I think we just play the best plays. Honestly, it's like, dude, if Bowers is the guy you need, you just take Bowers, bro.
Well, you play the best plays. You just shuffle them a little bit differently in each.
Yeah, I know you're joking, but like you could easily just take Bowers one pick higher or one pick later, and not with Henry or whoever's he's highest with. It's just as simple as that, and you still get your exposure to the best plays, just not in that same order as 30% of the field when it should be. What's the math on that? 600? What was that? 600
how you divvy it out.
Let's just do 5,000. 600 divided by 5,000, right?
Yeah, well, something like
12%.
It depends which side you divide it by, because Henry was a little lower. But
John says your EV is made up by later round plays, so you don't need to worry as much about your early round combos.
Well, that's
yes and no.
Yeah.
It all comes down to cost, right? You're trying to getting different is good, but it often costs you something, right? Like in traditional DFS, you get different typically by taking a lower projected play, but he's under-owned to a degree that it's plus EV to do so, right? So instead of the 15-point projected running back who's drafted in 80% of lineups, you take the 13-point projected running back who's only in 20%, and you sim it out, and it's worth it because when your running back goes off, you only have to beat 20% of the field instead of 80% of the field, right? So getting different is worth something, but the question is, what does it cost? Well, whenever you can get different at little to no cost, like, you just take it, right? So when you're in a range of the drafting where you got lots of viable options, just do something other people aren't doing. I mean, that's just really, it's just free.
It's free.
Later, it gets harder. It's like, do I take this marginal receiver with my quarterback in round 6? Or do I pick this other receiver who's much better project? Like, now you got to make some trade-offs, right? But if it's just given to you, like, you should just grab it. But the thing about, like, well, you don't have to worry about combos early because you'll get to it later. I think it depends. Like, if you can get different early at little to no cost, do it there also.
Which you can. You probably almost always can. And the benefit of this kind of thinking is when Bowers drops to you, well, he's now no longer in that correlated too high piece, probably because he dropped to you. So you could then now take him. So it's like, great, you benefited all. But if he didn't drop to you, then you're not losing anything by definition because he didn't drop to you. So there's other people there. There should be someone else who's dropped to you. So it's kind of like a no-brainer. You're always winning if you just kind of think like this way.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's test it out.
All right.
Let's make some shitty teams now.
Well, let's make some shitty teams that they can make fun of us. About, or maybe we'll just draft the winner.
Davis, are you gonna trust the Sims this week now that Chuba, Ramondre Stevenson, week in week out?
Chuba was dog shit. Chuba got but
he was 18th. He was the 18th overall pick. After we could have been getting him in like the 5th round.
I have never not gone along with whatever the Derek Carty / Nerdy Tenor play of the week was. Where I disagreed with the computer
if you knew how everyone was going to perform, Davis, you wouldn't be talking to us. You'd be sitting on your private boat. Your private. What
I have overridden the computer on has been roster construction things when it wants me to take a second round guy in the 3rd round. By the way, Brian, all-time week for your Chicago Bears. Like huge week for the Chicago Bears. They're kind of like the skeleton key this week.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. I mean, I think they are every week, Davis, but
I should flag. So I have 3 projection sources right now. I'm going to flag the players of significance on which they disagree. So the big one is so this is a few hours old, is Mariota. And then I don't know if that's ever going to come up. And then
Well, Mariota is starting.
Is he definitely okay? So that's it's not going to suggest him hardly at all, because one of them didn't get the memo. I think that's the only one I see.
Also, yeah, this is great advice from Crutches. Just don't take Mariota.
I don't care what this is say. Yeah,
unless he's put up as the backup on Island Showdown, and then you need him to win $1 million. Oh,
I'll bring up the combos too.
Shit.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see who does the computer. I hope it wants us
Mariota.
to take Tyreek Hill.
I can't see what
Chuba
happened.
Hubbard.
What happened? Okay.
Sorry.
I screwed up already.
Nixon. We got 2 picks back to back, so it's all right.
Okay.
Henry.
I see. All right.
Nick.
Okay. You can take Robinson, Gibbs, Jacobs, one of these guys.
Robinson.
Okay.
All right. I took Bijan. That right there. I already disagree with the computer, and we can get into it after we make it.
Well, at least you did it. Okay, so Robinson's highest combos are with Lamar Jackson, Henry, Adams, Barkley, Kelsey.
No, it's saying Amon-Ra.
So that is more normal. So let me tell you why the Bijan pick was strange.
Right.
This week, there are about 5.5 good wide receiver plays. I mean, I definitely think you could argue T. Higgins is not even one of them, considering he's the wide receiver 6 instead of the wide receiver 18 like he normally is. Look at the running back plays. We have undrafted Javonte Williams, undrafted James Conner, undrafted James Cook, Brian Robinson Jr., who the computer likes every single week, is like maybe going to be on 200 teams. Chuba Hubbard, who we took in the second round last week, truly might be on like 10 teams. Tony Pollard, we took last week, undrafted. Nick Chubb, undrafted. Bucky's not going to play. So, point being, sorry, Dan.
Yeah,
I am surprised that it is not valuing the points over replacement of the running backs more.
So we're gonna have to look at the curve. Let's look at the curve, and maybe we can talk it through after this draft. So I made a spreadsheet for.
Who'd you take with him? Amon-Ra Brown?
Yeah.
So Amon-Ra and Bijan are 12% combo.
Those are weirdo picks. We took Bijan at the 1-2 turn. Normally he's a 2-3 turn pick.
Okay. Well, whatever. Those two are together 12% of the time, which was about.
To be fair, I only got to run it for a very small amount of time because I was behind. True. So it could just be bad, but we'll see.
We have to remember to do the EV calc afterwards, by the way. We kept forgetting last week.
Yes. Yeah, can't forget the EV calc. Incredibly important.
$1 million idea.
We are up.
Okay, I'm computing. Yay. So
it's gonna want Gibbs.
Kamara, Gibbs, Kelsey, Goff. It's too early to take Goff. Swift.
Don't take Kelsey. He's 25% of the own together with Bijan.
All right.
Fingers are not nimble enough.
Oh, okay. We got Kelsey. All right. Okay, now it's saying wants to get another running back now. So it's saying Gibbs, Dobbins, Williams. It's got a lot of choices. Kamara, they're bopping around. So there's a lot just trading places back and forth right now.
Yeah. Any of those will be fine combinatorially.
Called Notable. I took A-Chain.
A-Chain? Okay, yeah, he's up there. He was 4th on the list.
Well, they're all going to project. They all project for like 14.5 dog gap points. So interesting that I basically thought, Dan, that the computer would say wide receivers early every time. That's it. Like I'm like actually fascinated by it again at that turn.
I think it's gonna get you one. I think it's going to get you. I would posit that it's going to take at least one wide receiver in the first 2 rounds every time.
This right here, classic. The chat. They all know. They all know about A-Chain. So if that's how people are drafting this week, this will actually finally be the week I get even if people are scared of A-Chain in this matchup against the Cardinals with his quarterback back. I think we might get there.
Dan, you should say like I don't make up where your sources are coming from projections, because when Davis knows it's coming from like Cardi or whatever, he's just auto biased.
I just did what the computer said for every pick, and he said there's no difference between A-Chain and Gibbs. They project like a 1.5 different.
Yeah. So it's really interesting dynamic this week. We can talk about more after this, because there's so few premium receivers and there's so many viable running backs. So it almost feels like you're competing with your opponents less for things than normal, and you're just making combos. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not fighting for stuff as much.
Did you just take somebody?
No.
Oh.
Okay, it's saying Goff now, and then I tanked Dallas second. It's got Devontae Adams listed also.
Goff is good. Combinatorially.
Right. Goff it is. Okay, let's see what comes next. It's gonna re-roll everything now. Ladd McConkey. That's fun.
Hold on.
Tank Dell, Terry McLaurin are winning right now.
Ladd, Dell,
and who's the other one?
McLaurin. They're duking it out. It's very tight. It's just randomness.
None of those guys are owned very high, so it doesn't matter. Like
I took Dell.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, and he won by a nickel at the end. Let's see.
Ladd McConkey. There you go, guys. Ladd McConkey. You heard it. You heard it here first.
So
I've taken Ladd and
spell that
before.
Yeah. I wonder what I'm going to look at my 3 sources and see what they're doing there.
MCC.
Yeah, Ladd is projected very high, so I'm actually not surprised by that.
They're all rating him within a point of each other, right around.
Yeah.
12,
that was not the computer going rogue. I think that is totally a legitimate pick.
Yeah, so it rated your team at $9.25.
$9.
All right. Well, split 3 ways. We still have to work at Subway, guys.
Well, plus we have to pay the $7 entry fee. So
right, I know. I'm splitting the $2 3 ways, so we can't quit yet. Can't quit Subway.
I can bring up. Well, I don't know. So maybe I'll just talk it through. So the curve here, at different positions. So that's going to drive everything that we're seeing from this software, right? So at receiver, how many do you think are picked over 95% of the time?
4 guys.
How many receivers are picked over 94% of the time?
Over 95% of the time, yeah.
Optimally.
According to my stuff. Yeah.
According to your stuff.
Yeah.
10.
It's 7. So the average of you two is right there. So it's Amon-Ra, Tyreek, Jamar, Drake, AJ Brown, T. Higgins, and Diggs. Okay?
Yeah.
So but and then if you look at, it's not a perfect number. If you look at the average projection, it ranges from around 14 to 17 FanDuel points. That's what that is. So, but the thing is, right below that, there are, let's see. So the last one of those is around 14. So below there we have like, oh geez, there are like 20 receivers between 10 and 12. So just combinatorially, it makes sense that you're perfectly fine with just getting one of those top guys and just doing anything else, because there's only so many different combos of top receivers available that it's not urgent that you just slam them together. Because even if you could guarantee you got 2 of those 7 every draft, there's only 21 combos of 2 of those receivers possible, right? That's just not that many. So, like, I guess if you could get a combo of those 2 top receivers that's really rare, that would be very valuable. But like getting 2 of those receivers on the turn is probably not rare at all, and you're not getting that much out of it, I guess. So it's not that urgent. So to me, the urgent thing is to get at least one of them. That makes sense to me. That you don't want to miss the boat entirely on those.
Because this kind of comes back to the combinatorial thing we were talking about. The field knows that. The field, the people can open up the app and they can be like, I don't really want to take Amari Cooper. So, let me just get Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, be done at wide receiver. But then you're going to be running into a lot of those combinations. In a weird way, I wonder if actually, because scroll down at running back is so strong, you actually end up with double elite running back this week being less combinatorially unique than you normally would in a site that rewards running back scoring way more than wide receiver scoring.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, isn't it? Let me do the same thing for running back. So, so there are 3 running backs drafted over 95% of the time. They're right in my stuff right now, but it's close. Let's bring it to 90 because it's a little deceptive. Or right around 90. If we expand it to right around 90, there are also 7 running backs drafted most, if not all the time. Hall, Mixon, Gibbs, Kamara, Barkley, Walker, and Bijan. Now, maybe the actual ones it could be different with updated projections, whatever. But again, once you get past those, like, there's a very flat range. Like, the next 10 of them are within 2 points of each other. So, like, I might even just loosen up my prior statement. Like, you want to get at least one elite something. And then I almost feel like beyond that, you have a lot of options to work with here, because you're not giving up all that much to get there. That's kind of why I was saying, like, feels like this week you're not fighting over pieces.
No, well, it's a 13-game slate.
Yeah, that's
and there are multiple very high total games relative, because basically NFL. I mean, not to know too much ball on this program, but NFL teams are kind of figuring it out on offense. So when we started doing these, there were 3 good offensive teams. Well, now, I mean, in this slate, there's there's 8, 9 teams you could see scoring 30 points and having a stack be optimal. So we learned a little bit about what the computer wants to do. Let's hop in another one. It was interesting to see what it wanted me to do on the turn.
Yeah.
I will say I probably am going to disregard if it I want Tyreek more than I want St. Brown. I actually feel pretty strong. Okay, we got the turn again, so.
Okay, well, we'll let it cook. Let it cook. We'll let it cook this time a little longer too.
Yeah. I'll be on it.
But don't pick it, Davis, till we review the combos too, if you can, if we have the time.
Right.
Sure.
I need to get a drink. How much time do we got here? We got time, right?
Yeah, you got time.
Oh, and then they have to draft. Yeah. So. Yeah.
This is the worst time. When the minute wait for the draft to start.
Yeah.
Horrible. So I do feel
there should be hold music or I don't know what they could put.
So annoying. Have you done any of the NBA drafts? I did a couple.
Yes, I did 4 of the 12-man NBA drafts yesterday, which was fun.
You see Pete won? Pete won NBA.
He did?
BRs yesterday. He won a couple grand.
Nice.
The guy can't be beat, man.
I only had 4 entries, so
he's using the same strategy that we were using for NFL.
What do you mean, same strategy?
It's secret, can't tell you. Secret strategy. Top secret.
Plugging in the ETR ranks and hitting auto draft?
No, that's not what he's doing. That's not what he's doing. He's actually doing one of the things I talk about in one of my endgame videos. But you never watched him, Davis, so you don't deserve to know anyways.
Buddy, I don't think that's gonna help me.
All right, let's do some combos.
Well, it's definitely gonna want Breece Hall.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to see how you don't take Breece Hall here. So why don't you just take Breece? I'll just assume you take Breece Hall, so I can compute.
So 33% of the field's taking Drake London with Breece Hall.
Okay.
You don't want to do that, I'm assuming.
Well, we can take AJ Brown, which is pretty combinatorial.
AJ Brown looks pretty good for combos.
So my order listing right now is Amon-Ra and then AJ Brown.
I'm gonna do AJ Brown. I like him more than St. Brown. The draft caddy is just $29.99 a month, correct, Brian?
Yeah.
To get the BR ownerships. There you go, Anthony.
The AJ Brown 9% combo with Hall, so that's fine. I'd assume. And Amon-Ra is even less, 6%.
Yeah, because ADP wise, it's very hard to do.
It's very hard to get Breece Hall.
Can you? I don't know how long it takes you. The difference, just for fun, Hall, Brown, optimal versus Hall. Who was the other? Amon-Ra.
Sure, I can do that.
Because this would be getting into the weeds probably too much. But so if we got 9% projected for one and 6% projected for the other, I wonder. I'm trying to derive heuristics, right? So
sure.
If
I can tell you, ADP just makes this start Breece Hall and AJ Brown far less common because Tyreek just went where Breece Hall normally goes, and Amon-Ra St. Brown went at his ADP. So I can just tell you the way the rooms work. This start is about, I don't know, 3 times more combinatorially unique or something.
I'll run it after. We can come back.
That's
to that.
fine. But finding a Mendoza line, you know what I mean? For it's
Mendoza,
12%, the Mendoza line. So the bare minimum. What is that line for? Just get uncorrelated pieces being drafted together. Something you should look out. It might be 12%. Like we were talking, it might be 10%.
So, one of the things I need to add is the ability to look at what the EQ field is doing, how often it's getting to combos, and what their EVs are. I'll come back to that after this draft because there's a subtle point here. I was getting to a similar one with Davis before the drafts.
It's gonna want Gibbs and Kelsey.
Let's see. I'm gonna let it cook. Right now, it's giving Kamara is winning. Kamara, then Diggs, then Gibbs, then Javonte, then Kelsey.
Kamara is number 1
at the moment.
Hold on, before you take him. Okay, he's not very highly played with.
Well, he's not drafted that often.
Okay, then who's the other guy?
I took Kamara. I assume it's going to want Kelsey now.
Yeah, why is Kamara not drafted? That's weird.
He has a broken hand and.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not.
Don't take Kelsey. he's
giving me T. Higgins and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be T.
And then, but they're
now
close.
Kamara's gonna play.
Don't take Higgins either.
Oh,
he's 28% correlated.
Higgins, Kelsey, Diggs.
Oh my God! Why do you just take these with?
It was the number 1 guy in Dan's thing.
Here, look.
Close though.
Higgins, AJ Brown, 28%. so far.
We'll have to make it up with,
So the answer, by the way, for why it's going to continue to want Kamara is projected for about 1 billion points. And the Saints have a 16-point. This is, I'll give you guys a little hint. Every week, the projection / Dan Sims want running backs you guys don't want to take and that the field doesn't want to take because they play on shitty teams with low team totals, but they get the ball a ton. Pollard last week, Stevenson, Kamara this week. It's the same formula every single week. And by the way, the sim and the computer is correct. And I like this point by Joey. We have a super unique combination to start with. And T. Higgins was pretty clearly the best pick there. I don't care about the combo uniqueness of A.J. Brown and T. Higgins when I have another huge differentiator.
Fair enough.
Or I care about it, but I don't care about it as much, Brian.
Right. That makes sense.
Care about what as much?
He's saying because he got so weird in the first 2 picks, because he got Breece Hall with A.J. Brown, which is going to be pretty rare, that he's less worried about
I suppose. I don't know why you would not just pick somebody else if it's.
Well, we should compare the EVs next time. I mean, the question is how much it costs.
So if the sim is going to pony up 3 guys who are like the same EV, I think you just always never take the guy who's 30%.
Well, I should be more disciplined about which guys I read off, like how much of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now that we kind of have a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Just like
I should probably only read off things that are within like, I don't know, like 5% of each other by default.
Here's the thing, Brian. To come back to the last thing, to the T. Higgins. Like, at a certain point, there's definitely value in getting unique. Totally. I was the one who brought the point up. I agree. But you don't want that to be the thing in and of itself. You want that to be a second or third layer of decision making.
Right. But how's that any different than what I'm saying?
Well, you told me you got mad at me for taking T. Higgins. You were like, "Why?"
I'm saying if he is offering up 3 players of equal value, then you shouldn't take T. Higgins.
Right. That's fair. If they're truly of equal value in every way,
truly of equal value, then you shouldn't.
Sure. Okay. Now here is a chance.
That high. That's a high number.
So here is a chance for us to really test how much we care about being combo unique, because these are going to be the most owned combos of the slate: Hurts and Brown, Burrow and Higgins. Do we do? I mean, there's no way to tell the computer.
We know Hurts is about right, combo wise, because we checked that before the show.
It looks like it wants to do Ingram and Hurts.
Well, let's take Hurts first and see what it says. And Brian, you know what I would love to do here? I would love to take Caleb Williams and Cole Kmet or something like that, like a weirdo quarterback tight end. I'm just going to do whatever the computer says, but that is a move I'd love to do at 5'6" when you have 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, is weirdo quarterback, weirdo tight end.
Gotcha.
It definitely wants Ingram.
Who's Ingram?
Evan
Ingram. Evan Ingram, the tight end.
Who the fuck is Ingram?
Like, is that Keontae Ingram guy? Like, what is going on?
Sorry, should pronounce more carefully.
So I think
no, you're right.
No disrespect to Nerdy's computer. I think Evan Ingram might be close to the worst play of the whole slate.
Kate Otten listed next, but
so why do I think that? He's like the most over-owned guy. He's the tight end 6. Every week, the tight end 6 is like the most over-end. He gets clicked. He gets auto-drafted. He just presents on way too many teams, and he's just a bad play. Like Kyle Pitts at the tight end 10, in my mind, is like infinity better. What was our EV on that one?
$19.74.
Wow, I loved it.
I liked it. So you wanted me to look up Breece Hall and AJ Brown versus Breece Hall and
sure.
Let me see. I can
David,
do that.
while he's doing that, the Evan Ingram ownership too is also, he's pretty high with Hurts. So
yeah, well that was
if you don't like him and he's high with the guy we already have, I think he probably should have pivoted.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I should have. I don't know.
Here's the numbers. So I have 56-32 total teams with Breece Hall. Of those, 714 have AJ Brown, and 270 have Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay, so half. Okay, and so the field's at 9 and 6 the ratio, 9% and 6%. So your sim likes the Brown. So the Brown Hurts combos in comparison are too high owned, I would say, based on your sim.
Yeah, mine has
we made the right pick.
2.6 ratio. Right.
Yeah, and we're at almost even at predicting wise. So yeah, we made the right pick in hindsight.
Yeah.
With AJ Brown?
Yeah, AJ Brown over.
I know ball. I don't know why you're doubting me, dude.
Well, that's knowing what your opponents are doing too. So impressive, Davis. I had to say, do people not know what the Mendoza line is? Is that too old?
Well, first off, yeah, like half the people, more than half, don't know what the Mendoza line is. You also mispronounced it at first.
No, I didn't.
They're double clowning on you.
Nah, I didn't.
All right, let's not get the 106. There we go. The one.
I lagged out. It clipped on me.
Yeah, I got second. All right.
I wonder.
We taking it too.
Who always gets drafted first?
Henry.
I'm gonna assume people are drafting Henry so it can compete longer. And if it isn't, I'll throw it out and start over.
Well, now they're gonna reverse snipe you. Just to ruin your sim.
And I know it's gonna finally be one of these weeks. Like last week, I faded Henry. I think I faded Henry every week he's been in the pool and just taking the guy after him. So I end up with no Henry and double the guy after him. This week, I'm just like, whatever. When I get the 101, whatever, I'll just take him. This is absolutely the week that he's going 13 rushes, 47 yards, no touchdowns, 1 catch for 4 yards. I feel it. I feel it pretty deep in my soul.
Fun fact on the Mendoza line. Can you guess what the entry fee is for the DraftKings contest called the Mendoza line?
$199.
It's $200.
$200. Yeah.
So Breece Hall is listed. Here's the winner.
It likes Breece more than Barkley, huh?
But yeah, let me see what the difference is. Yeah, it does. So my combo projections like him a good bit better for whatever reason.
You include Cardi in your
he's
mix,
one
right?
of them. Yep.
Yeah. So he has Breece projected for, I believe, from this morning. I want to say he's got it projected for 23 points.
Oh, Jesus. Well, all right.
He didn't put Cardi in there this week. There's no Cardi in there, Davis.
You can't. You're not going to know projection better than me. No one knows projection. I can tell you what Leone and Cardi's projection differences will be in a given week without even looking at what they have, because I just know the inside of those dudes' brain.
So here's who we want to avoid: Drake London, Reed Love. So there must be look how many people taking this Hall Reed Love combo. I guarantee the 3-mans are high with those 3 too. They have to be, obviously.
Yeah.
No Josh Allen, no Trey McBride.
So can I see the draft board before I fall all the way down?
Oops, they're drafting fast.
Tyreek, Amon-Ra, AJ Brown, Drake London.
It's not gonna have enough time to cook.
Oh no, it's good. It's good. So it's saying Lamar is winning.
Easy. There's never been an easier game.
Yeah, and we're good combo wise.
All right, grab Lamar.
That doesn't make sense to me. Well, actually, no, it does, because people just take Barkley.
9.1%.
These combo percentages that Brian can see come with the draft caddy. Yes, correct.
It's on the settings page.
It's on the settings page. So learn Learn draft caddy, boys. Damn, I really wanted Bowers.
I saw that.
Okay.
So it's listing. Okay, within 5%, we have Jamar Gibbs, HN, and Kamara.
Say less.
Gibbs looks fine. Who's the other one? Kamara and who?
HN.
Davis's guy. Hall HN's actually 12%. So Gibbs? Do you like Gibbs, Davis, or no?
I do, but it's too late.
Who'd you take?
HN.
Okay.
Yeah, what do we think about the evolution of the titles? I was pretty proud of this one. Top secret computer. Yeah, top secret, pretty good. That's got to do great in the YouTube out. Top secret has got to crush in the algorithm.
How about hand built computer? I built this computer by hand. Is there anything more spreadsheet version than that?
Yes.
No. Mm-mm.
Nope.
Artisanal, artisanal, bespoke computer.
I mean,
solves fantasy football.
I don't have a chip fab. I mean, I put the pieces together, just to be clear. But
you also should do something with his hands, like classically trained.
Or hand builder, but then it's a picture of me putting a computer together.
You don't want too many non-football words is the thing.
Or do you?
You want to max out at about 80 characters for a title. So you need your clickbait title, and then you need your subtext, which is Week 8 Fantasy Football Underdog Draft Sim, so that people know what they're actually watching. Now, if I really wanted to clickbait, there would be none of that. There would be no Week 8. It would just be true clickbait.
All right, who we got here?
Okay,
Kindle computer, not so cool.
It's thinking tight end thoughts. So I know you don't want Engram.
I'm disregarding tight end because they're not going to go to the last round.
Okay, well, it's saying Zay Flowers is injured, isn't he? It's saying Diggs, and Dell.
Do we have Jackson? 25% of teams are going to have Diggs and Jackson. And Hall. Diggs, Jackson, Hall are a big combo.
Did he just take Brian Thomas? Okay.
Yeah.
So now it's saying, so you need another receiver, eh?
Mm-hmm.
It's saying, ignoring that, Jaden Reed is the top. Then at Devontae, it's Jaden Reed, Adams, DJ Moore, McConkey, Tank Dell. There's
Reed and Hall go a ton too. This team's awful. You guys don't know what you're doing. And when the EV's not going to be right because we know that they're going to be owned higher than what it thinks. Together.
I don't keep a straight face coming up with these titles. I legitimately laugh making them. Like I sit at my. Actually, I literally posted. I created this stream in the sauna this morning, and I was chuckling to myself coming up with the title. Yeah,
that's a good one. I like it.
It's it's an art. Thumbnails and
I don't think you could be taking guys who are combinatorially owned 30% together back to back in the 4th and 5th round. It's got to be just like horrible strategy.
What about if I take a 0.1% owned tight end?
No, that's all just dumb. When you could just take someone slightly different who's about the same.
It's not dumb because I'm about to blow your mind, dude.
This solver will blow your mind.
I'm about to take Isaiah. Dan, what does your computer think? How many dollars is it worth if I take Isaiah Likely with our final pick?
-20.
I'll let you know when we get there. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, we do have to wait because the one guy does not have a tight end yet. Otherwise, I could have
the spoiler alert is that I am going to override the computer telling me to take Evan Ingram, to take Mark Andrews, or Isaiah Likely. I just want you to tell me how much money I'm giving up.
How much it thinks it's costing.
Likely actually combinatorial is actually pretty good. Because he's getting picked, but not with Jackson every single time.
Likely is going to be on about 17 teams in the whole thing.
Yeah, so
I think there's a good chance it's going to recommend Likely to you if it's available.
No, he's on some teams, dude.
Okay. So let's see.
Where do we have him at? 6%.
I am incorrect. So it desperately wants Engram, but next it's listing Kincaid, Pitts, Kraft, Schultz, Otten, or they're like there's a super flat layer below Engram.
You got it. Can you tell me how many dollars the difference between Likely and Andrews is?
Likely and
Probably
Andrews. I don't think I even got Andrews through my filter, so I can't compare.
All right, I took Isaiah Likely.
Likely?
That's just a smidgen of ball knowing. There for you guys. Zay Flowers is going to be out. Likely still on the field more. Still more routes. Still all the stuff you want more than Andrews. Andrews is going to be literally 400% more owned.
We have the combos the same though. Actually,
interesting.
Andrews and Likely with Jackson are the same.
That actually tracks because Likely would really only get picked with Andrews, or Likely would only really get picked with Lamar.
So it thought with Engram it would have been $8.30, and with Likely it's $4.50.
So giving up $4 of equity to take.
I don't know why it's that big of a difference.
I think that would have been a good spot for Andrews, Davis, not knowing how he is or if he's healthy or anything. Because he's 20% projected own, where Likely's 5.8, so you're right there. But combinatorially with Jackson, they're both 3% projected.
They're both about the same.
So it seems but it seems like it's a good spot to take Likely because you got him with Jackson, which they're not doing. So like when you take them, you're kind of leveraging that correlation pretty well. And then when you don't solo take, Andrews, right? You only took them with that combo, which they aren't doing enough.
Fair.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
Not that I think Likely's fine too, but
yeah, it just the average. So I don't want to drill down too much, but the reason it gave such a difference, I think, is it thought Engram was something on the order of 4 points better. Than Likely.
He probably is. I think he probably is, but I just have a little bit. I just have a little bit of ball knowing there. Just applying a little bit, of my vast wealth. I will say this: the last time I really made a point to take Isaiah Likely, he scored 2 touchdowns. That's nice. All I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's just really.
Davis, if you did one of those shows like that Pete does, where they use random questions, they have to pick random players. Could you do it? Could you physically go and click some random shitty pick or no?
I've done the randomizer with Pete before.
No, I know, but by yourself, without not on the Davis Matic account. Would it hurt? Would it hurt? Could you do it?
I am just pissing away.
Could you take Isaiah Likely in the first round?
No.
Okay. All right.
No. Are you first?
I do just want to show this so people know that I'm being for real. Isaiah Likely scores 2 touchdowns this week. I had him on 11 teams out of 964 teams in the whole pool the week he scored 2 touchdowns. So I was over 1% of the total Likely teams.
Did you win?
Of course I didn't win, Brian. I wonder what my best Likely team was. Probably wasn't very good. Oh no, top 2000. I don't know. It was DJ Moore that sunk me. It was your dirty DJ Moore probably. No, that was the week you had to have Chase and Higgins. Anyway,
we got 1-1.
Yeah, we got 1-1.
Yeah, it's going to tell you to take Breece Hall.
You know what? Fine by me.
You're doing Breece Hall, okay.
Why not? You only live once, Brian.
Okay. Here, try to keep these names in your head, Davis. Here. Okay. Jake, we don't want this guy. Probably don't want him paired with Love.
I'm not listening to any analysis that tells me not to take Jaden Reed, but Drake London, sure, easy fit.
Yeah. Oh, you hate money.
I don't hate money, but
No,
I'm
you
not
do.
going to blindly nix out projections to avoid an overlap spot. The same reason
we're not blindly. We're using quite a bit of information and thought behind the idea of doing it.
you just haven't watched Jaden Reed play, brother.
It doesn't matter. You could still take Jaden Reed, just don't take him with Hall.
Sure. Well, it's gonna. I will. I
so like think of it this way. The reason you took Hall first. So like you're like, oh, I'm different now because I'm taking Hall first, but you're gonna ruin it
when you take Reed.
You're gonna ruin it by taking Reed because 30% of the field takes Hall when they're supposed to and Reed later when they're supposed to. So you fuck yourself by doing it.
The differential spot is always 2 and 3 though, because there's such a wide delta in where guys get taken after like pick 15 or so.
Yeah, but like if you take Hall first, you can't take Reed. If you take Hall at his spot, you still shouldn't take Reed. You should only take Hall and Reed when it falls to you, when they both fall to you.
We should just never take Jaden Reed. Just never take Jaden Reed.
No, I'm saying you take him when he falls to you when you take Hall, but also you could take Reed with tons of other players. But
I prefer this strategically. I just prefer taking a weirdo combo in round 5-6.
Why not just have good strategy every round?
It's too hard. Too hard to stay that locked in. I can't do it.
To be fair, it is easier and lower cost to get different later. But that doesn't mean you can't do it earlier also. When the opportunity presents.
The equilibrium strategy does not know that 30% of the field is pairing these two guys together.
Right.
But Davis does now.
Doesn't mean I have to listen.
Thank God.
Draft.
So we have a chance to get a very super giga unique combo here.
Well, no, they're 21% together, Walker and Reed. It's not as giga as you think.
Okay, there's a lot of things up top. Gibbs, Kelsey, Walker, Dobbins, Josh Allen has made an appearance. I don't know if Okay, now it says Gibbs, Kelsey, Dobbins.
Gibbs is fine.
I did Kelsey.
Okay.
Kelsey's fine. So like that's a perfect example of before in the last two drafts where I said Kelsey was too high. You just don't take him then, and you take him now, you still get Kelsey.
Gibbs, Walker, Dobbins, Kamara.
Don't take Walker. All the other guys seem fine.
Gibbs winning at the moment. Yeah.
Computer really likes Gibbs. I wonder if
Gibbs is 15%, so that's probably.
I wonder if do any of your sources have David Montgomery out? It is a bit strange that it really likes Gibbs that much.
Let me take a quick peek here.
We can check that after because I don't want you to have to miss these. But it is because the computer hated Gibbs last week and he was in an objectively better spot, and now it really likes Gibbs in what is objectively a better running back week. So it just got me thinking.
So I have the Montgomery projections are right around 11.5, 12.5, 13.5. And then the Gibbs, I have a 16, a 17, and an 18.5 at the moment.
Yeah. All right, how are we on combo uniqueness? We keep doing this shit. I'm gonna have the worst wide receivers ever this week.
I think everybody is though.
Yeah, I guess that that's true. Is everyone's just gonna have the worst wide receivers?
Everyone is gonna have better.
We're doing pretty good. The Gibbs Hall is 15%. I bet that's too high, but that's probably within close enough.
Okay.
Somebody commented I needed to code this up to be sentient. And so it can do the drafts on its own. What makes you think you're looking at a real human being right now? I mean,
dude, Dan is actually just an advanced ChatGPT bot.
Yeah, you think that's flesh and blood you're looking at right now?
He's anywhere between a complete fraud whose keyboard isn't even plugged in, and a robot.
And it's hard to say which one.
And anywhere in between.
This feels like another week where I'm never going to get Josh Allen.
Kelsey Gibbs is mega owned too, 22%.
Yeah. Well, it's fine to not get any Josh Allen.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
It's just so funny. There's always somebody who just wants to get him.
Yeah, this was a bit we already did a couple weeks ago.
All right, it's gonna want Diggs with one of these picks.
Oh, what? Oh, this is weird. CJ Stroud, Mahomes, Diggs. That's interesting. Stroud, Mahomes, Diggs right now.
So yeah, Mahomes, Kelsey's 21% together. That's probably
I'm gonna override the computer. Rogue. I'm gonna take DJ Moore.
God, you pick the same guys every fucking week. DJ Moore, Hall is one of the highest. Hall is one of the highest Moore correlations.
Saying Diggs is winning right now.
That's perfect because now we have 3 quarterbacks we can take with our final pick, and we don't have to care.
Sweet.
Diggs, Gibbs. 30% of the field has Diggs and Gibbs.
How about Dell? How about Dell and Diggs? How many?
Dell is low, 9. So whatever.
There you go, brother.
You went for the
I
Dell.
placated you. At most, only 9% of the field can dupe me now.
So that might have cost too much, but according to my software.
Well,
yeah, I have no idea how many points Dell's projected to. I'm just telling you how many times they're. You definitely didn't want Diggs. I don't know who you wanted, but it wasn't Diggs. 27.3% of the field, Gibbs, Diggs together. I can't imagine your sim says that's right.
So Dell is interesting. It's pretty wide. I have a 10.5, a 12.5, and a 13.
And but Diggs and Hall are highly correlated too. So you definitely didn't want Diggs.
But Diggs is 13, 14, 15.5. So we probably should have done some other more highly projected piece.
I think the problem with, at least not with your stuff, with my stuff, is the picks early. The earlier pick is the mistake. Like Kelsey or Gibbs seem to be too correlated with pieces that were going to fall to us. Something like that. Like an early, it's, like the earlier moves you can make can screw you up later on.
Yeah, well then I took Tank Dell, brother. So
Somebody asked if the software has inputs for combinatorial ownership. It has no inputs for ownership at all. So it tries to play itself and draft against itself and get sharp. Over time.
If you want to go watch our shows we've done, like I don't know how many of these we've done in a row, but like each, especially the early ones, we talk about it quite a bit, what it does, and a lot of questions get asked and answered. Or go to Endgame Syndicate, our website.
All right, you got to tell me what EV of the quarterbacks is highest, Stroud, Mahomes, or Caleb.
Yeah, you should start typing in those combos, Brian, too.
Yeah, Stroud's fine. Mahomes is Kelsey and Mahomes are 21%. I was going to
say, yeah, every Mahomes team is going to be the thing you have to weigh is literally every time Mahomes occurs, it's going to be with Kelsey.
That seems kind of low, like 21 Mahomes, Kelsey, and then who's the third?
It seems high.
Caleb. Wait, it says Caleb's the perfect pick. Caleb's pretty correlated with DJ Moore, obviously 18%, so less than Kelsey, Mahomes.
It's bouncing around. Literally all 3 have been in first place at one point or another. Right now it's Mahomes, Caleb, and Stroud in that order, but it's been bouncing around.
And I don't think combinatorial matters.
Just close. Caleb, you got Caleb?
Yeah.
Caleb and DJ Moore actually own less than Kelsey and Mahomes, which is surprising to me.
Because you think I'm being dumb by picking DJ Moore, but I'm actually being smart by picking.
I love DJ Moore. I like DJ Moore. I'm not for or against any players or picks or takes or anything like that. I have none. I'm just saying.
I bet numbers, not teams.
No, but when you take a guy who's like 30% picked with somebody else, like that just can't be right. Especially when then your later picks that are going to make sense are also going to be picked with those two guys. It's just worse on top of worse. But we're kind of going through this fast, and like it's hard to keep track of all this stuff. But once you get a feel for who's owned with who, you actually probably could avoid this stuff pretty easily.
So we got $9.02 for that one.
Okay, so we made $2 on 2 drafts. That's $4, and then we did this. What did we make the other one? 17.
Yeah, and then we lost like a 2 or 3 on one of them, $2.50.
But that was, we made $19 on the one team, so I had a little bit of pocket money to spend on Likely.
So we're averaging about $2.20 an hour between the three of us. So split 3 ways.
Yeah.
Nice. So I ran numbers on my EQ strat. So Mahomes. So when Kelsey is drafted, how often do you think he goes with Mahomes?
Well, the field seems pretty sharp on the court on those, so I'll go with the 22%.
Okay, 16.
Wait, when Kelsey gets drafted, how often is Mahomes, or when Mahomes gets drafted?
Well, let's just do both.
When Mahomes gets drafted, Kelsey is 80% drafted.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, when Mahomes gets drafted, I bet it's really high. I'm just saying for the field, we have at 21, 22%. So
my stuff when Mahomes gets drafted, it also has Kelsey 55% of the time.
Okay.
And then the other question is, when you have Kelsey, how often do you get Mahomes?
Because Kelsey's getting picked a lot, right?
Yeah. And the answer there is 30%. So 30% of the Kelsey teams are with Mahomes. And
okay.
West.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. So even higher than the field. So higher than the field, basically.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So you could have taken Kelsey there and probably made a few more sense. What about Kate? Let's do Caleb and DJ Moore since me and Davis both like him this week.
They don't project very well. Caleb doesn't project that well.
Well, we don't care though. We're just looking when drafted.
Oh, sure.
How often is Caleb with DJ Moore?
Caleb and then DJ Moore. I'm just counting lines and files here.
Does it say just you automatically win? You automatically take first if you take these 2 players?
Oops.
Yes, correct. Honestly, I'm not going to sweat the
All right, I've got
the combos. I'm not going to sweat the combos as hard as Brian.
You got it. Clearly, you're not. Clearly, you don't care.
Because it's so easy to find unique combinations with your final 2 picks.
That's
easy.
That's not a good way to think about it.
Well, let me argue against you a little bit more before we get to Dan's number on Caleb and DJ Moore.
Okay.
It sounds really stupid. It sounds like, oh my God, you're getting duped by 30% of your opponents when you say guys are drafted 30% of the time together. But you need to extrapolate that for the fact that a guy can only be max 16% owned if he goes 100% of the time. So 30% of 16% it's a lot lower. It's the raw number of these combinations is so much lower than it sounds when you say 30% duped.
I know what you're saying. I'm not sure that's an apples to apples comparison, but it doesn't matter anyways, because
I know
what Dan said 10 minutes ago or whatever about if it's in comparison to what, because if you can get an equal value player, then you take the equal value player. You don't take the higher combinatorially owned player.
Okay.
So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's an end all be all of anything. I'm just saying, or I have any player takes it all. I'm just saying if we see someone's highly owned, but Dan is listing off 2 to 3 players of equal EV, then we take the lesser combinatorial owned one.
Yeah. You don't want a team of nothing but scrolls. Anyway.
It's not scrolls. I mean, it's just, his numbers, obviously, some of the players will be scrolls because it doesn't know what the draft is. It's not taking that into account. And then you could change. You could say, no, I'm not taking Kamara because he's not getting picked or whatever. That's fine. But I'm just saying, if it is equal value, all else aside for that, then you clearly take the lesser owned combo. That's all I'm saying. It's pretty obvious, I think, strategy that no one else is doing, Davis, and you have access to this information, and most people don't.
I'll still find a way to lose. Dan, optimal rates of DJ Moore.
I just did math in a very stupid way. I'm fixing it. 239. Okay, when you have Caleb Williams, how often do you have DJ Moore? This is the first one.
It's also not diversification, homeboy. I am a diversification guy, but that's not what we're talking about.
No. So
Brian prefers to win on structure.
It's an advantage because we have this information no one else has. It's not even structure. Go ahead, Dan. Sorry.
So in my software, when Caleb Williams is drafted, he's drafted with DJ Moore about 44% of the time. When you have drafted DJ Moore, he's drafted with Caleb Williams much lower percent. He's only drafted 9% of the time.
Yeah, because he's getting picked a lot more. Yeah.
So that
Caleb's only like 23%. So So what would it be in all drafts? Can you do the percentage thing again?
How often each is in all of my drafts?
Yeah, because we have Moore and Caleb at 18.2%.
Oh my God, really? I have Caleb at 18 point. No, I don't. Damn it, wrong number. I thought it was going to be more. No. I'm looking at the wrong number. Sorry. Go ahead. I got excited.
Caleb and Moore together in 18%.
Okay, Caleb and Moore.
Which I think it's all drafts, right? No.
That's I think that's going to be higher than what I have. Let me see. That's out of drafts? Yeah, out of drafts.
Yeah, duo on the same roster.
2 on the same roster. Okay. I have that occurring in 4% of all drafts.
Okay.
But out of teams, yeah, that's low. Did I do that right? No. I have to multiply that by 6, excuse me. 25%.
Okay. Yeah, so 8. So we're low. So the Opto likes the more Caleb a little bit more than the field right now.
That's all I needed to hear.
You love it when it agrees with you. He loves the solver when it agrees with him.
Like I generate my ideas in a vacuum. Like it's not like I just watch the games and come up with my opinions. My opinions are going to be based on projections and points scored in fantasy. You know what I mean? So occasionally the projections and I will really agree.
Sure.
We got the.
I mean, do you ever have a problem? Let me ask you a side question. Whenever you go to like a restaurant or you look at a menu, do you like know exactly what you want every single time?
Yeah.
Okay. We definitely have different personalities.
Well, whatever you get's going to be good if you're at a good restaurant. So what does it matter?
Well, then why would you have a pick then? Then that's the opposite.
And sometimes I want chicken parm. Sometimes
but then you just said whatever's going to be good. So if whatever's going to be good, why have a choice? Why have a preference?
That's a good question. I've never thought of it that way.
You just contradicted yourself. But it's okay. I don't care how you, what you do. I'm just saying that I'm the type of guy who like I don't know what I'm deciding between 3 things at a restaurant. I want all 3. I can't really pick.
No, so I obviously relate to that. Like I look at the menu and I'm like, oh, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. But I'm like, the stakes are so low, I'll sweat it.
What about like if you're gonna go to dinner? Do you like I know where I want to go, or do you like not care? You'll go anywhere.
I mean, I will go anywhere, but there are restaurants I really like. Like I'm like, oh, like Sarah, like let's go to. I really want to Indian food tonight, or whatever.
I honestly I kind of like. I wish I was more like that. I wish I had more preferences and stated them. Excited. I don't. I'll go wherever. Indian, fine. Like right now, I'd go Indian. I don't care.
Well, I'm gonna take Tyreek.
He's listed second right now in my list.
Okay,
but he's up there.
What's the optimal percent you should draft potatoes if you already drafted steak? Oh God.
It's got to be up there. Smoked?
No, it wants Joe Mixon.
Hold on. He's 21.
It's by a good margin.
Oh, okay. Who's second?
Amon-Ra.
Okay, they're about that's fine.
No, we're going off the rails, boys. We're going off the rails.
Well, at least they're not high owned. They're not high owned at all.
Oh, I knew they wouldn't be.
All right, we'll make it up.
You're a genius. 6%, Davis. 6%. Okay, now you finally have a combo of note that people do not have.
That is what I do about 100% of the time when I'm drafting on my lonesome. It's like I'm just never, ever, ever taking the non-unique combo there. I'm never starting, like, I'll do 150 drafts. I won't have Tyreek Mixon on one of them. I probably won't even have Tyreek or St. Brown on any of them. Like that super common pairing at the 1-2 turn, I have like none of.
How much money did we lose on that pick?
Like $3, but that's provisional. We're gonna make it all back with.
We made 50K though. We lost 3.
Do you want me to fill out your applications for Subway for you guys?
Okay,
it's gonna want Kamara.
Don't pick anyone yet.
Dobbins, Kamara, Williams. Okay, Dobbins, Kamara, Williams.
Dobbins is fine. Kamara and London are kind of high owned.
Let's do Dobbins.
I took Javonte Williams.
What the fuck is going on? Why am I even typing shit in?
Dan said Javonte.
Did he?
At one point I did. That's true. Yeah. Now it's saying Chuba, Kelsey, Dobbins.
It took 90 minutes. It took 90 minutes, but we did get to a Chuba Hubbard mention on the program.
It's lower now. It likes Dobbins more, but Kelsey is in there.
I took Kelsey.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Run Javonte Williams and Tyreek Hill in your combo pairings. It's going to be like none.
Okay, next draft we're gonna do what Dan and me want, and then you just pick and only tell us when someone's like hurt or there's some obvious something wrong that we wouldn't know.
Sure. So it's a good team. This is the best team we've drafted thus far. And we have 3 quarterback options to choose from, which I like as well.
He did say, Javonte Williams, actually. I did hear that. I just didn't get in time.
Like, the thing is like so Dan's computer is like, oh, J.K. Dobbins is worth $2 more than Javonte Williams. I mean, they're projected the same.
So, like, McBride and Bowers with Williams are kind of high correlated, which I'm assuming we still need to. Oh, we don't need tight end. Good.
Running back, quarterback.
Running back and quarterback is all we care about, right?
Yep. So, is Jonathan Taylor injured? I thought he was. It's just not at the top. I'm just curious. I'm getting Dobbins and Kamara are the winners right now.
Yeah.
You want to just do Kamara or Dobbins?
We'll do Dobbins.
Dobbins is less owned with our players.
Okay, now this is fun. So it's saying Mahomes and then a gap and then Bo Nix is next. It's Mahomes and then a gap and then Bo Nix and then and then a gap and then a whole bunch of
obviously no one's taking Nix, so it doesn't matter. And then Mahomes is fine because we just went over that. Kelsey ownership should be fine, so it's up to you, Davis.
Tua is third, but he's costing you. He likes Mahomes the best here.
Okay, I don't hate it now. Now I'm over it. It's fine, team.
It turns out I know draft. I might not know projection, but I do know draft, Brian.
So you did make up some money there. So it ended at $12.15.
That too, Davis. Someone's hurt or information, or if it's clearly going to be a 2-round later pick.
Right.
How much money?
This is not true. This is not true. We made $12.50.
Oh, Davis, perfect comment here. So someone said contrarian play, though, is to have 3 wide receivers. So I was talking to Davis about this very issue before the stream. So why do we get contrarian? It's so that when our things do well, we have less people to beat, right? So that's obviously good when there's a huge payout for first. So we like that. The question is, what does it cost you? So the fact that 3 wide receivers, for instance, is rare doesn't mean that that's the best way to get different. So when I look at what my software is outputting for this week, one of the things I found is it very rarely gets 3 wide receivers. Why? Because there just aren't that many attractive ones relative to the very large stable of running backs we have to choose from. So you can get different by getting weird at running back and also have a higher projection. So why wouldn't you just do that? Like, it doesn't necessarily make sense to think about it in terms of a particular aspect, like who am I taking at flex? It's rather, what is it costing me to get different? That's really the sort of meta level I'd be thinking at. So yes, getting 3 wide receivers will get you different, but I think it's not easy to do that well. So my software is doing that at single-digit %, and it's probably because it's not easy to do that and realize your equity with the current slate. Anyway, I just wanted to.
Can I piggyback on that really quick? So, it's Thomas Sowell's great line is there are no solutions, only trade-offs. So you always got to think of the trade-offs, and I always like to do an extreme example to prove a point quickly. So like in the video I did years ago with correlations for like wide receivers, let's say like a high school football team got to play against an NFL team for a weekend. You could go, yeah, well, they have a quarterback and a wide receiver, and we could stack them, against this professional team, and we therefore gain all this stacking correlation. It's like, yeah, but they're going to lose 100-0, and the guy's going to be in the hospital by the end of the first minute. So you probably shouldn't stack that high school team against the pro team, right? So yeah, if you clearly it's very close. It depends on the trade-offs of the alternative. And the alternative would be taking an unstacked NFL player. Well, you probably take the unstacked NFL players.
Yeah. Right. So it's all about doing things the most economical way possible, right? If we're trying to maximize our EV, right? So there was another comment further up about, let me see if I can find it. Similar issue. Says, maybe I'm off, but it feels less impactful to consider pairings when you're following the sim picks early. If you take Breece at 1 and someone falls to 12, it's automatically less unique. Yes, that's the best case scenario, is somebody falls to you in a really weird way that should have been picked way early, and you just scoop them up. And then you're getting different, and you're getting a higher projected team than you should. So that's like a double whammy when that happens.
That is BR advice number 1.
Right.
If you were just randomly gifted Breece Hall at 7, there's really that right there is your opponent just like gifting you dollars and dollars of EV. I would say that is like the best thing that happens to me. Like, yeah, drafting in the $3 one, the Wildcat, I'm like, oh, I love these drafts. Because I don't even have to think. I just get gifted the best picks, because people are like, oh, I just want to do, like, people go into the $3 draft and they're like, oh, I just want to get my guys. I want A-Chain. I want A-Chain on this team. I want yada yada on this team. It's a great way to it's just fun to draft those, obviously.
And the opposite is true. If this is the opposite, is if you do get weird first, like Davis did with Hall, right? So you're taking Hall first instead of Henry or McCaffrey 1 week or whatever, you cannot then take the guy he's paired with normally a lot of the time because you're just totally blowing it because you could have just done that anyways.
Right.
So like if you take Hall number 1, you can't take London. You probably can't take Reed even though he's going later too. So like the opposite's true. If you're going to try to get tricky early, then don't screw up, with the next pick.
Right. The reason, generally speaking, the reason to be different in the very earliest rounds is because you think you have better projections than the field. That would be the only reason to do it. Right.
Yeah.
You don't. Yeah. It's almost impossible to quote get different by punting off an early pick for exactly the reason that Brian said. You could have gotten to that combo anyway. So why not just wait till you have a worse pick to get that combo?
Yeah. It's a pure no ball. It's a pure no ball thing. But let's just say for some reason you do end up doing that. Well, then don't compound this by taking someone you could have got anyways at the 3 whatever 10. Now that you're at the 112, because that's what everyone was doing anyways.
Yeah, totally.
All right, Brian.
All right, so
you can make the final call on every pick. I will not moderate anything other than ADP, injury.
Okay, I'll except on picks where I'm like it doesn't matter, and then you can make the tiebreaker since as we've went over, you're good at making your preferences known, where I usually just don't care. So you can just be the tiebreaker there.
Well, I'm just gonna type, and our first pick is gonna be Rashad Bateman. So
whoa,
no,
okay. Talk about getting different.
Rashad Bateman had to have been in the primetime Palooza winning lineup the other night.
Yeah,
made me
think
he
did have a big game, didn't he?
Yeah. All right, what pick do we get? We got the third pick. Well, there you go. We'll get Breece Hall.
Probably. Speaking of the devil, so we should know his correlation's pretty good.
Yeah.
The most owned guy with Breece Hall will be Walker.
We just
London,
looked at it.
Lamar.
It's Drake London. Walker's up there too, but London's higher.
Yeah, once you have a combo that's except the thing is 6% owned is not even wrong. It's 6% drafted. So it's 1% owned.
Right.
So what was that? You closed it. Doesn't matter how unique the rest. Well, I mean, yes, because
it does matter. It's
still
complicated. It's a little complicated.
There you go. Jonathan Taylor practiced in full today.
All right, yeah. So guess who? According to my stuff, because
finally someone got my
it says
joke.
Hall. It says Hall and then Mixon. Yeah.
I bet John knows what the Mendoza line is.
So yeah, Breece Hall winning by $1.
Rocket.
Yeah. And this is
one of those. You dare do it.
So London?
Don't you dare.
London?
Yeah. So just so you know, Dan, we're not going to take London, Reed, Love, Allen, McBride, Walker. So you could just.
Oh God, I can't memorize all that. Wait a second.
Well, whatever. You don't have to. Unless it's like what? Unless it's like a $2 difference.
I'm off now. Shit.
No, sorry.
Damn it. And it's my bad. I should have complained sooner. Okay, I'll catch up. Tyreek, AJ.
Hopefully, WD Simp 12 takes the whole.
Good for the ASMR, guys.
Okay, so
Drake London.
So who am I ruling out again?
London, Walker. Unless it's like a $2 or $3 difference.
It's okay. Then it's giving me Gibbs, Higgins.
Okay. I don't care about
and Bijan.
Who do you like out of those three, Davis? Gibbs doesn't matter. Gibbs,
Bijan,
or you pick.
Bijan it is.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So we will not be taking Lamar Jackson if he's even available. Davis, it doesn't mean you have to remain completely silent the entire time.
I'm trying to help you guys. I'm not trying to dissuade you. I'm letting you guys kind of pirate this vessel.
Okay.
It's gonna want T. Higgins, Brian.
Well, let's see. Hold on.
It's gonna want.
Who do we
T.
have?
Higgins.
We have Bijan and who?
We
Breece
have
Hall.
Breece and Bijan. Yeah.
Bijan and Breece is it's a pretty nutted combination. I think this one.
Who does you like, Dan?
So it's giving me Kelsey, McBride. Oh wait, Kelsey, Josh Allen has appeared. Kelsey, Diggs, Josh Allen, Jordan Love, T. Higgins. It's Kelsey's winning. Josh Allen in second. But that's T. Higgins now in second. That's pretty
take Josh Allen.
All right, take Josh Allen. Sweet.
Now I hate it. It was tough. A lot of those guys were kind of highly correlated.
You ruined my 100% Josh Allen fade.
Yeah, well, this is going to be your winner.
Obviously.
God, do I need it, brother.
Okay, so Josh Allen and Cooper are 42% owned. Do we think that's too high, Dan?
Yeah, it should be 0%.
What?
Amari Cooper and Josh
That's
Allen.
Insane. That seems way too high. But I don't know. We'll look at it after. One Hurts, Jaden Reed. Okay. T. How are we doing? 3, 4. We're doing.
I'll tell you why the Josh Allen thing is bad. Lamar is a better version of Josh Allen. Hurts is more stackable. He's got 3 guys you can stack with them. I just feel pretty strongly.
We couldn't get Lamar.
No, I just in general. All right. Who do we want?
Who we want now?
It is saying Diggs, Kelsey, and then it's got Kelsey and Njoku, Diggs. Yeah, those are the ones very close right now.
What about Njoku?
You want to grab Njoku? Yeah, let's do this.
Does that hurt, Davis? Can we do that? Okay, good.
I could see. I mean, to me, naked Allen.
Yeah, we might
better.
go naked Allen. I don't know. Is 42% Cooper and Allen too much?
Well, I feel like if you want Josh Allen, you want rushing touchdowns anyway.
Yeah. We'll look at that. I'll look at that after for sure because I'm curious. It feels way too hot.
I bet it's about right because you were talking with Mahomes and Caleb. They were in like the 30% range, weren't they? Can't remember.
Can't remember either. There's another issue, which is the percent you see. I was talking about Davis earlier. Let's look at this pick first. Okay, it's Diggs, Dell, Brian Thomas.
Let's do Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas.
I like Brian Thomas.
All right.
He's barely owned with any of our guys.
Okay, so costing
12% is the highest.
Let's see how much it costs.
We might be cooking up a shipper here. You know, I was.
Robinson, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And then
now,
what do we have left, Davis? What do we have left?
Wide receiver.
Another wide receiver. Okay.
Yeah.
We need to add a wide receiver tab, I think, to this searchable to this thing. Because once you get to these later picks, I'm gonna pop me up. I want to know, just wide receiver ownerships with my guys.
I'd love to take Marvin Harrison Jr., but Dan's computer's gonna hate it.
You could take him next draft.
Well, there's just a little bit of a hack this week. Marvin Harrison Jr. completely undrafted.
So I've got Diggs. Really like Diggs this week. Diggs, and then a gap, and then McConkey, Dell, Garrett Wilson.
Okay. I mean,
Flowers
Diggs is
in
really highly
Flowers.
correlated with our players, so I would rather
that's
pick
stupid.
somebody else. I don't know if that's crazy.
No.
Too late.
Who'd you take?
It would Diggs.
Ah,
My fingers were not nimble enough.
it's fine. It's fine.
$8.34. Sweet.
So the Davis Maddock IKB team was worth more.
Wait, so we wanted to look at Allen and Amari.
Yeah,
right?
but I'm IKBing because I know the combos and the sim doesn't.
You know combos, brother.
I do.
Okay, Josh Allen.
Right here. See?
Yeah. So we're looking up the optimal combinatorics of Josh Allen and Amari Cooper.
Yeah, that'd be good. And then here's the problem with Diggs, right? Is look at who's most correlated with
Brian,
our entire team.
Shouldn't he just be really correlated with those players because he's a good pick? So you'd want him with other good picks?
No, when people are taking him too frequently, then you'd want to not do that.
Okay, how often when you draft Josh Allen,
annoying the shit out of me, Kyle.
569, 45, 17. Okay.
I'm gonna guess your stuff has him 25%.
Okay, which way are you going? When you have Josh Allen, how often do you have Amari?
Yeah, yes, 25%.
13% of the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
dog shit pick.
Okay, so then that's a huge fade. That's a good fade.
And then in the other direction, when you have Amari, how often do you have Josh Allen?
when you have Amari, 75% of the time.
Hold on, don't answer that. Hold on, I want to do something. So, okay. Wow. 20?
When you draft Amari,
Yeah.
he's
How many
always
times
with,
you take-
always with Josh Allen. It's 100%.
Is it 100%?
You
Never
don't. God, do I know draft? I mean, no one knows draft more.
Let me ask you this then. What is the optimal of Allen and Kamari just on their own?
I have that. Josh Allen is going to be.
How often should they be drafted?
Josh Allen is 80%.
Yeah.
And Amari Cooper is 10.
Okay. See, that's where because Cooper is getting picked 90% of the time right now.
That's insane.
Now, keep in mind that
That's
Amari
nuts.
Cooper's input volatility is amongst the biggest of the slate because I think Cardi has him for 10, ETR has him much higher. Like there's a huge amount of input volatility, so the optimal stuff, like he ran like 16. I mean, this is too much football for this show, but he ran like 16 routes last week. He was like a bit time player, so he's just a hard guy to project. He could.
My projections are kind of I have a 9 and a 10.5 and like a 12. So it is pretty spread.
Yeah, it's
out.
all over the place.
So that would, if you believe that, and if you think that reflects fundamental uncertainty, you would expect him to be drafted more because, as we've talked about on Endgame, and it's the theory of videos, volatility is desirable for lower projected players. It makes them more attractive. It makes them more attractive, and it makes higher projected players less attractive.
All right, what's our theme of the last one here, Brian?
I don't have anything.
You're out of themes?
Let's just draft the best team. Let's just draft the winner.
Best team.
Best
or
team.
Not the best team in the abstract, but the one that's going to have the highest score, maybe.
Yeah, like the actual highest score to win.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Let me turn that on. Yeah.
Well, it's going to take Breece Hall. So That automatically puts us in the Dan's computer will automatically like our team.
Yeah, that's right.
Another thing too, Davis, is a lot of these guys are getting drafted too much. This is kind of more of a side point, really. But
no, 13 game slate. Some guys are getting 100% drafted that should be like 70% drafted. It's a very good point by you.
Exactly.
Yeah, we can go over some of those after if you want.
Yeah, all right.
Like here, great example. Kenneth Walker, 100% drafted, first, second round pick. His path to failure, just from like a football sense, is so clear this week. They just get ran out of the building against Buffalo, a much better team. Seattle doesn't have their best offensive player, whereas Alvin Kamara is getting drafted 41.2% of the time. They're basically in the same spot. Like Alvin Kamara and Kenneth Walker are basically, for fantasy, facing the same challenges. It's a good point. I don't know if I have the stones to really challenge it and just be like, well, I'm scrolling for DeAndre Swift on this team. But you are making a good point. The field is behaving so far from rationally, so far from optimally in these that,
And
I know I'm going to.
Yeah. You get these combos of Breece Hall and Drake London at 33%. Maybe that one's a bad one, but because London's probably 100% drafted, right? He should be 100% drafted.
Yeah.
But if you get a guy who's 100% drafted, who should be 87% drafted, right? And then also he's getting paired with player whoever at 33, 35%. They're not even correlated. There almost always has to be an equal or better option in that spot to take.
Yeah.
And equal is fine. As long as it's close, it's fine. Take that one then.
Yeah. Sharp's not really more, honestly. Kenneth Walker's getting the most targets of his career right now. All right, well, who's it going to want here? I guess it's going to want Brian. Here's a guy who doesn't care. There's a guy who's scrolling. Gotta be careful.
A bit too much of a scroll.
So this next comment too. Is always taking 2 wide receivers because it's trash. The thing is, though, there's so few good receivers. There's a very good chance that no pair of them does particularly well.
Well, if they're all bad, if Garrett Wilson is a bad pick, then Darnell Mooney can be a good pick, if that makes sense. The wide receiver 24 can be a great pick if the wide receiver 11 is bad.
Right. It's just not really that unlikely that of the top 7 receivers, 1 or 0 of them are needed in the optimal lineup. It's not. That's a perfectly reasonable outcome.
That being said, it's going to work.
If there were 15 of them, it might be a different story. It's saying,
London, no Walker.
It's saying Gibbs, Higgins, Gibbs, no London, no Walker.
I'm taking Lamar Jackson.
Lamar, okay.
No, I'll take Higgins. Higgins.
Lamar Jackson would be good pairing. No one's got Hall Jackson.
Their ADPs don't line up.
Come back to you. It might come back to you.
No, this guy's going to take him because we just gave this guy a gift. This guy just got a gift. He just got an ADP follower he shouldn't be able to get. We just all right. He did come back.
There you go.
Let's see what it says.
So that guy.
It doesn't even. Oh yeah, it does. It is winning. No, it's not. Lamar's not even winning here.
Who's winning?
Gibbs is winning here, but you can take Lamar. They're not that far from each other, but it's interesting that he's not up.
I just don't I really just in general I don't want to have 20% of Jahmyr Gibbs this week. Jahmyr Gibbs was a really good play last week.
Don't take Gibbs because he's correlated with a lot of the guys we've been taking.
I took Lamar Jackson.
Okay, and here listen to this combo. Lamar Jackson and Bijan Robinson, 40% of the field.
Wow.
Not 40% of the field.
40%
about 9% of the field.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, 4% on the same roster.
You're just overstating how much of the field has the combos to make me seem dumber for lumping them in together.
It's he's still a huge field, a huge portion of the field.
This guy crossface knows ball. AJ Brown, Brian Thomas, J.K. Dobbins, Javonte Williams. He is a ball knower. And we could do Lamar naked on this one. We don't have to do Andrews or Kelsey with him.
Yeah. In fact, Lamar naked is like 70+% in my stuff.
Who does
It's saying
the computer
Kamara,
want now?
Connor.
Connor.
Yeah. Well, that was short-lived. Now it says Kamara, Kelsey, Jacobs, Hunt. Kamara.
There we go. I just needed you to say Kareem Hunt. I knew if we let it cook long enough, we'd get there. I'm going to take Kareem Hunt.
All right.
Kareem Hunt. This is a great reason to draft on Mondays. Kareem Hunt, you could have taken on 100% of your Monday teams. He was a 6th-round pick, and now you can't.
Huh.
This is good too because he's not really correlated with those first two players.
Sweet.
Interesting. I would assume he would be like Diggs, and he would just correlate with everybody. Although I guess Diggs goes last round, so it's easier to do.
Hunt and AJ Brown, and Hunt and Chase, and Hunt and Tyreek are the highest.
That would make sense.
Hunt and Bijan 12%. That's probably fine.
All right. Njoku and Cooper went.
Mm-hmm.
We are up. It's going to want Diggs.
Oh, actually, no. It's saying Kelsey.
I don't want to do Hunt and Kelsey together.
Diggs is 3rd. It's saying Kelsey, Ingram, Diggs. Are all bunched together.
It doesn't. They're all kind of correlated with our players, except Ingram, of course. But you can wait on him, right, Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can take Ingram with our final pick, or we could take Mark Andrews this time. We took Likely last time. We can take Andrews this time.
Yeah. So I can't estimate how much Andrews is worth because it has nothing to do with anything other than it's an artifact of how I've implemented this. He's not going to be in my list. That doesn't make him a bad play.
Yeah, I agree. This team's shaping up pretty good. I like this. Although I'm really torn 2 minds here with the Diggs thing. I'm like, Diggs is like drafted every week and he stinks. But the Slappies are about sick of Diggs. The Slappies are about done taking him. So he's just going to be so much less owned this week. And Stroud too. I mean, this Indianapolis Colts defense, like every game they're in, they just give up 1 billion points.
Anthony Richard.
Chase London is probably pretty combinatorially non-unique. That's probably fairly common. Well, maybe not. Their ADPs don't line up exactly.
Let's look.
Evan Ingram went, so now it probably wants us to take Kate Otten.
Chase in London, you could 12%. 12% seems to be about the Mendoza line, I think, with like guys who are definitely getting drafted.
Okay, it has a list of a bunch: Otten, Kraft, Disley, Komet. It's like there's a lot of options down here. Otten is winning, like you predicted.
Otten and Jackson are actually kind of high owned.
Okay, you can just take Andrews.
Komet you could take.
Yeah, we got Andrews. So I can't give you my EV estimate, and it's not your fault. It looks like comparing it to other teams, it's probably pretty close to par, according to my stuff. But
who'd you take, David?
He took Mark Andrews.
Andrews, yeah, I think that's fine given the combos. He's for some reason Jackson Andrews is not like super high owned.
People don't believe. They don't believe.
But he's still getting picked, so kind of weird. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I wonder if there's a bug.
Maybe.
For the people interested, some guys you might want to Cooper Allen we went over. It's tough because of the concerns that Davis shared. So forget that one. Brown Hurts is probably about right. because I think Dan said 37%.
Right.
Bijan Jackson at 40% cannot be right. That's too high.
Yes, correct.
And we faded that. Bowers Love, that seems wrong. 30. That's Burrows Higgins is, who knows? That's probably pretty close. Jackson Barkley. Again, London Hall, that kept popping up for us. That'd be a good pairing to fade. Devontae Adams, Joe Mixon? Yeah, like why would you do that?
Hard
the
to say.
Kareem Hunt guy who was asking earlier, AJ Brown's probably who you want to fade with Kareem Hunt.
Like, how static do you think this stuff is? Like, do you think this projection will look differently?
That's a good question.
Because like you would hate to fade, like, oh, I can't take Kareem Hunt, like a random 3rd or 4th round pick with AJ Brown, and then we redo the ownership stuff on Sunday, and it's like, oh, actually they were just owned right at the field.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's pretty sticky because it's not DFS, and these guys have already been drafted, so there is some stickiness there that's not in our normal kind of projections. So like early ADP matters for later ADP. So like Aaron Jones last week, I don't know what he actually ended up being drafted, but it was probably pretty close to our number. And that's because of his injury designation, or whatever. He just wasn't in these earlier drafts, and they're done. It's over. So like he won't be in a lot of fields or in the main. He wasn't in a lot of the earlier drafts, so he's not in the main field as much. And then now that he's playing, Dan's optimal number is whatever 60, 70, 80% of it is, and you got a good play on your hands come Sunday. So the same thing with these combos. It's going to change. I don't think it would just refresh it, refresh it. It'll change every day. It'll get better and better. And, Chuba Hubbard went from when we did our draft to 18, right? So it definitely will change. And then
that's the other thing is the ADP shifts very quickly, because sure, it's Thursday and it's been open since Monday, but only 18% of the contest has been drafted.
Yeah.
Like, so you know what? A ton of people draft during Thursday Night Football. Like they'll be like the contest will fail like 8% more tonight.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of, like, I'm not even sure what no ball things you could do there though. You know what I mean? Like maybe you guys can think of something, but like I mean, we're drafting right now. This is the information we have at hand. So I feel like we should definitely just be using it as gospel for now. And then when we draft again Sunday, then you change it. But like, I'm trying to think of like, how could you like, okay, so say, Chuba Hubbard's going to be higher. Okay. So like, then like, it'd be very hard to use that information. Like what combos then would he be with more frequently that I could take advantage of that in the here and now? Like, I don't know. So I think you just use the numbers as is and then just pray.
Well, on that note, I do have to head out.
Or you just snowball, or you just
snowball and win the money.
That's way too hard. I can't do that. Writing AI software is way easier than knowing ball.
Get in the gym, bench 225, and click Kareem Hunt and Derrick Henry. That's how you win. All right, Brian. All right. What is it? We have anything new on Endgame Syndicate this
Dan,
week?
if you do gotta go out, you can head on out if you gotta go right now.
All right, I do have to go. I'll see you folks. All right.
Adios. Bye. Later.
Yeah, you can catch Dan and myself and Endgame Syndicate. We're actually co-streaming there right now. So we'd appreciate it if you go over there and sub. EndgameSyndicate.com is the website where you can get our videos and the Draft Caddy, which has all these numbers and stuff. Oh, and Dan's only releasing the optimals on his Endgame on the Discord too. If you care, you can overlay them like I did too with the Draft Caddy. It seems to be easier, make it easier for me to draft.
For sure. All right, everyone. If you made it this far, comment below your favorite Battle Royale pick this week, and I will. Maybe that pick will make it up in the end. Maybe that'll make it in the winning
Caleb lineup. DJ Moore stack. That's the winner.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
This week, the Sharps and the Bears fans are on the same stack. All right, guys, we are going to get out of here. Have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow morning with Rich Rebar, and then in the afternoon with the Underdog Pick'em show. It's short king summer, dude. It just feels like no one in fantasy sports ever learns anything. Does he mistime it, or is Brock Bowers just a grown man? Brock Bowers is just a grown man. Dare I say, Rich, football might be back. In the words of Lane Johnson, this offense looks constipated. It's short king summer.